Okay, so I know it's been a really long time since I've posted anything. There's a few reasons for that. Uh, One of the things is that you guys who have followed me know that I am neither pro keto nor anti keto. I'm just a guy who's interested in science. And I started making these videos and talking about ketogenic diets because initially, when I first got interested in ketogenic diets, there was nothing else out there. And because no one else was talking about ketogenic diets, I thought, okay, I'll start talking about them. And then keto took off, and suddenly everyone's talking about ketogenic diets. And so I kind of lost interest, not in nutrition, but just in making videos, because why bother making them when there's so many other people talking about it? And then I made my video about my frustration with the fact that the research is not standardized. And I know people really hated that video. It's like one of my most unpopular videos, and people make nasty comments all the time. But I do believe that research should be standardized. So I haven't changed my opinion on that. I uh, I still feel that um, if you're going to research ketogenic diets, there should be an established ketogenic diet that is used in research studies. What your ketogenic diet is doesn't really matter. I don't care if you're doing 60% fat or 80% fat. Um, your N equals 1. But if we're going to do research, it really should be standardized. So, anyways, without any further ado, I will try to make this one short. But I just want to touch on this because why am I making videos? Because no one else is talking about it. So, this is a topic that no one is talking about. Ketogenic diets might actually be bad for cancer. And so this is really important to understand here. So people talk about this Warburg effect, and all cancers run on glucose, and that's like part true, but it's not true. Um, it's it's not that it's completely false, and it's not that it's completely incorrect. Um, I just want to back up for a moment and say that that is established. However, the problem is that there's a bigger picture, and so looking at that small piece is not enough to fully appreciate the metabolism of cancer. And so, what I'd like to bring up here is that uh, cancer actually changes its metabolism. And so it's really interesting. You guys can go ahead and pull up these papers. And I held off on making this video for probably, gosh, I'm embarrassed to say, but probably about a year. I've been looking at this, and I didn't want to speak up too soon because I wasn't sure that what I was reading was I wasn't sure I was understanding it properly. And so at this point, I'm pretty confident in sharing that uh, in the research studies, if you look at cancer metabolism, it appears that early stage tumors, early stage cancer, does in fact, anaerobic glycolysis, does in fact run on glucose. That is true. However, late stage terminal cancers, oxidative phosphorylation. So it's not a matter of just, oh, don't feed it glucose anymore and it will just die. It doesn't work that way. Uh, Furthermore, uh, there's a possibility that ketogenic diets might actually interfere with standard of care. Now, the reason being, we should go back to something really simple like radiation. How does radiation work? Well, radiation works, it kills the cancer cells because it increases reactive oxygen species, ROS. And cancer survives radiation because cancer cells are special and they endogenously produce their own antioxidant defenses. So you're trying to increase ROS to kill the cancer cells, and the cancer cells themselves endogenously produce their own antioxidants to protect themselves. Now, if you're familiar with this, this is why you shouldn't take antioxidants like vitamin C alongside your stereotactic radiosurgery is the word for it. It's radiation. They're just blasting you with radiation. Whether it's CyberKnife or Gamma Knife doesn't really matter. Point is, radiation works by reactive oxygen species. It kills the cells, oxidative stress, And if you take antioxidants, you are actually blocking that effect. You're blunting it. We know that ketogenic diets are anti-inflammatory. Everyone loves to talk about how they're anti-inflammatory, but the thing is that if it's anti-inflammatory, you're reducing inflammation, you're reducing oxidative stress. And so it's possible that your ketogenic diet may actually be interfering with your standard of care treatment, whether it is chemotherapy or radiation. Obviously, it would really interfere with resection, that's surgery, whenever they're cutting it out. I mean, probably good for you to have less inflammation in terms of your pain level. You might heal a little bit slower. Inflammation definitely does help us heal, but I doubt it makes a huge difference whenever someone's cutting into you. That's pretty severe. I mean, that's a lot of damage. Obviously, there's things you shouldn't take. Don't take things that thin your blood, even fish oil. But otherwise, I'm not going to try to make an argument that ketogenic diets would have any interference with surgical resection of your tumor. However, certain chemotherapy drugs and radiation, obviously, they work through increasing the reactive oxygen species, which puts stress on the cancer cells, which causes the cancer cells to die. And so if you reduce that stress, if you're interfering with it in any way, shape, or form, or you're producing antioxidants, anything like that, taking antioxidants, you're going to blunt the effectiveness of the intervention. So that is another way that ketogenic diets could also actually work against you. And as I mentioned, the fact that early stage versus late stage cancer, the metabolism changes. So just something to consider. I'm not going to get into the really weird nitty-gritty stuff because that's really boring. And I figure that a YouTube audience really, if you guys are interested, you'll just go onto PubMed and actually read the papers. But, the reason I felt obligated to do this is because actually I did a 10 video series that some of you may or may not have seen, where I talked about ketogenic diets and cancer. And my takeaway from the whole thing was actually that fasting was the ideal state to deal with cancer. So even though I acknowledged in the videos that ketogenic diets could have a role, therapeutic role, adjuvant therapy, the thing is that I felt that fasting was going to be more effective. And Longo did a study showing that fasting does in fact help with chemotherapy. So fasting before your chemotherapy actually not only makes the chemo drugs more effective, but also reduces the side effects. So I guessed whenever I said that in 2013. Yeah, I think it was 2013 that I first suggested that fasting was beneficial. That has actually panned out. So my guess, which I even said in the video at the time, was just a guess. My guess ended up being kind of correct. So, in any case, lucky guess, purely a lucky guess. It's not like I had any kind of clairvoyance that I knew that was really going to work. So in any case, yeah, so I did that 10 video series, and I actually recall myself saying in that series, which I have now taken down, I think it might just be unlisted, because I didn't want people who had linked it somewhere to not have access to it. But I want to go back now and say that everything I said then was wrong. And I know that bothers people too. I had a video where I talked about doing cyclic ketogenic diets, and then research came out showing that cyclic ketogenic diets were actually inferior to a continuous ketogenic diet, and so I then changed my stance. And that's the thing, is I don't have an angle for you guys. Like, I'm not pitching ketogenic diets or cyclic ketogenic diets or any diet for that matter. I don't care. Be a vegan. I don't have a problem with any of the diets at all. However, what I do believe in is I do believe in science, and I believe in changing your opinion as new information is presented. So in 2013, I felt that with the current research that was available, that a ketogenic diet could be beneficial if you were doing it alongside of standard of care. And then I further said that I felt that fasting was a better option, though, than ketogenic diets. The fasting part, that actually did pan out. That has been researched, and that actually does look pretty good. However, I would like to go back. So for anyone who did see those videos, I would like to say at this time, you're going to have to look at the stage of the cancer and what is going on at that time. This may pan out in research that we need to actually change our dietary strategy during treatment. So early in treatment, maybe a ketogenic diet would be efficacious and warranted, and then in later stage, if the cancer continues to progress, you may need to change your dietary strategy, and that's just simply a matter of the cancer cells themselves changing their metabolism. So it's not that your ketogenic diet caused them to change their metabolism. They changed their metabolism anyways. So that's what I have for you guys. And unfortunately that ran on way longer than I wanted it to. I was trying to do a short video, but you know me, I start talking and then I feel the need to clarify every statement that I make. So are ketogenic diets bad for cancer? Yes and no. That's the takeaway. It's always one of those things where it depends in context. So I don't want anyone to take this video as a statement that I'm saying that ketogenic diets are bad for your cancer. I'm certainly not implying that ketogenic diets do not cause cancer. I'm not saying that either. Definitely not saying that. But what I am saying is that as cancer progresses, the metabolism of cancer changes. And so therefore a ketogenic diet, which may have been warranted at some point, may not be the best choice as the cancer itself progresses into later stages. And so that's what I just wanted to clarify, since no one is talking about it. I have searched high and low and no one is talking about this. I couldn't find a single YouTube video where anyone discussed this. So I hope that helps you guys. I hope that that was clear. If you have questions, post them, but for whatever reason YouTube is really weird about not notifying me about comments, and then when I try to find comments, I can't find them. So once in a while I get an email telling me that someone commented. I can't find it. So I hope that's easy enough for people to understand, but if you have a question, go ahead and throw it below, and I will try to find your comment, and I will try to respond, at least for the first month or so. I mean, if you guys comment on a video that's like 3 years old, I don't even remember what I said in that video, so I don't remember what I just said 5 minutes ago. Alright, kill it.